Remember that we're going to try to record this. Let's see. So we'll cross our fingers and hopefully that will work. If not, one of these videos is already on YouTube. So again, hopefully this will record and we'll be able to send it out to those that can't make it today. So the agenda for today, pretty short, should be under about 40 minutes or so. The first 15 minutes, I'm going to go over hazard simplification and what that means for our area. Casey's going to step in and do the total water level presentation. I'll talk briefly about snow probability, show you a video that we actually made for that, and then we'll turn it over to any questions that you have. So NWS, the Hazard Simplification Project, this has been something that's been going on for a while. Eli Jacks, who's a partner with us within the Weather Service at the headquarter level, made this presentation. If you have any questions, if I didn't explain it clear enough, feel free to email me, but also that email at the bottom, hazsimp@noaa.gov. The reason why I say that is I can certainly point you in the right direction where to find information, but they're really eliciting a lot of feedback. So if you have any questions, you don't think something's working, you think perhaps it should be done a different way, send the folks at that hazsimp@noaa.gov email address because they really appreciate the feedback. This is why we've gotten where we've gotten. It's really the help of social scientists and also feedback from our users. So a couple of objectives. Again, it's going to be a pretty quick presentation. We're going to talk about some of the changes with our warnings, watches, and advisories, specifically with the winter weather products. We're going to talk about how we've engaged social scientists, so we haven't just made this up on our own. This is something that we have partnered with others that have more expertise in messaging. We're going to talk about some of the legacy products that have changed. For us, not a huge impact because we don't get impacted by lake effect weather, but there are a couple changes. And the plan is perhaps to expand this into the other products we issue, such as marine and also wind chill products. And we'll talk more about that at the end. So why are we changing? Whenever we have a big event, especially unfortunately if there is a loss of life in the country, we usually do what's called a service assessment. And that's really a review on our products, but also the users, whether it's emergency management community or the public, how they like them or what they don't like and any pitfalls that we may have. And so some of the past events, as recently as 2015 with the flooding in South Carolina, certainly with Sandy, and then we had a historic derecho across the Mid-Atlantic, there has been some confusion in terms of our watches and warnings in some of those products. And so that's the impetus for change that we didn't think we were as effective with our messaging, and that's what kind of got the wheels in motion. So this is our current watch, warning, and advisory system, and I'm laughing a little bit, but it looks like the periodic chart on the right. Those are all the products that we could issue. If you've been a user of our products for a while, we pretty much have a product for everything. So that's one confusion. We have a lot of different types of products that can mean a slightly different thing, but on the whole, they're in the same genre. And then also, we start out with a watch when our confidence is 50% or greater, and then when our confidence increases to 80%, we have to go with a warning if it's life-threatening or an advisory if it's a nuisance. Well, unfortunately, some folks think that that's a downgrade if we go to an advisory. So that's a confusing part there. So a lot of confusing parts there that we want to look at. And this has taken many, many years, even prior to this, to start to engage. In fact, 7 times we've engaged with the social science community, starting with focus groups. The AMS is the American Meteorological Society. That's a big conference, an annual conference, and often they have smaller conferences throughout the year. So we've done focus groups, been at conferences. In 2015, we had a workshop to kind of test and look at some of the new language and simplified formats. Did a test bed. We have training out in the central part of the country where we can put forecasters in place and test some of these concepts in front of one of our main users, which would be the emergency management community. And then we came up with proposals and surveys the last year and a half. So again, it's been a very, very long process. A couple things that have stood out and really recurring themes is with our current system, you have high-end users that really understand it, and then you have others that don't understand it quite as much. Advisory is unfortunately the least understood term. Watch and warning, fairly well known, but even that is still confused. Folks sometimes still think a watch is worse than a warning. maybe we may down the road consider replacing some of the terms that we have and make more call to attention. But the bottom line with all of this is there's a spectrum of learning and understanding, but the main focus has been that we need to shorten our products, focus a message, and consolidate. So that's the first step we've taken in terms of the reformatting. So what does it mean to you? In the past, we've already made this change to a bulleted format. So that has not changed. That is based on past feedback. But even though we went to the bulleted format, the products were still quite long. So we thought we had an opportunity to continue to use the bulleted format but shorten it. And research has really shown that the what, where, and when format would be the best. I really emphasize the impact, not the why of something's happening, but what, where, and when. So this is what it means for this upcoming winter. Prior to this year, we had products such as Winter Storm Watch, Lake Effect Snow Watch, which we don't have to worry about down here, and Blizzard Watch. As of today and as of this winter season, those will all be consolidated to Winter Storm Watch. So for us locally, it's pretty rare that we're going to have a Blizzard Watch, but if we were going to have blizzard conditions, we would not be issuing a Blizzard Watch anymore. It would be a Winter Storm Watch. The lake effect snow, if you're traveling, that's just something interesting, but for us, we won't have to worry about it. The bigger change is down in the advisory products. Before we could issue a freezing rain advisory, we will no longer be doing that. That has been consolidated to a winter weather advisory. So the two that affect us, Blizzard Watch is going to be Winter Storm Watch now. It's going to consolidate, and freezing rain advisory will be a winter weather advisory. So those are the two main products that will impact our area. Wind chill and wind chill watch or wind chill advisories and watches will not be consolidated. There is talk that we may do that in years coming up, but that will not be part of the consolidation yet. So those are the products that are going to be consolidated. I think even more so than that, what you're going to notice is the product itself will be much, much shorter. So here's some examples. This is a freezing rain advisory from the Pacific Northwest. Again, we will no longer issue these, but locations, ice accumulations, timing, impact, temperatures, a lot of information there. It's bulleted, it's separated, it's nicely displayed, but the new one will be this. Just a winter weather advisory. Again, no more freezing rain. The what, where is it going to impact, and when, and then a few additional details. So as I kind of toggle back and forth, again, it was bulleted before, but much more consolidated into the what, where, and when, and any additional details we have. I think that's going to be the biggest thing that you will notice. The other example that I pulled out was the Blizzard Watch. Again, before we could issue a Blizzard Watch. And again, a lot of information there, location, timing, impact, winds, temperatures. That will be consolidated. Now it will be a Winter Storm Watch. The what, where, when, and additional details. And one thing to kind of focus on this one with the watch, in the past sometimes we would use different terminology. We may say expected, or we would have a watch which means uncertainty, but then we would have more certain terms in the product. That has changed. So if you have a watch, we're still uncertain of it. So that's why we have the word possible for blizzard conditions. So those are some of the changes that we'll be having this year. Hopefully, I know a lot of folks don't want to see any of these put into play with, hopefully we stay warm, but if we do see them. So a couple more examples, freezing rain advisory, winter weather advisory on the left, those are the legacy products, just trying to re-emphasize. And on the right, they will all be winter weather advisory. And notice the consolidation, the what, where, and when. And again, you will also notice on this, with an advisory, we are to the threshold that we expect it to happen. So the what says freezing rain expected instead of possible. That will be the change with that. The second example, the Blizzard Watch and warning. Blizzard Watch will go to a winter storm watch now, and we still will do blizzard warnings. And the difference with that, again, the consolidation, instead of a bunch of bulleted text, the what, where, and when. And again, the word expected for blizzard warning, because if it's a warning, we're confident it's going to happen. And with the winter storm watch up at the top, blizzard conditions possible. we're going to skip that one. So just in summary, the winter change have already been implemented. I know we haven't had a lot of winter weather yet. There are surveys out there about continuing to do more reformatting, more consolidation with the non-precipitation hazards such as wind chill and wind, and also marine. And there's also some surveys on even testing replacing the word watch and advisory. When we get those surveys here, or when we hear about them, we will forward them to you. Please take the time to fill them out and add your input, because it's the users that will really shape how we go forward. If you don't like what we're doing, if you think something is not good, provide us with that feedback either via the survey, or you can email me directly, and I will certainly pass that information on. For one last time, that's the email address, hassimp@noaa.gov. And again, you can provide feedback directly there or to myself. So before I turn it over to Casey, are there any questions specifically with the winter has simplification? And if you can't think of it now, we can answer those at the end as well. Very good. We haven't had a lot of practice with this, so I'm glad that there weren't too many questions, because it's something that we're still learning in the office. So I'm going to load up Casey's presentation. We're going to switch gears a little bit, and something that, I'm a new forecaster here in the office, and something I have to get used to is marine hazards. And in some cases, we don't see a lot of winter weather here, but some of our biggest hazards in the winter have to do with marine products and issues. So Casey's going to talk a little bit more about that.
Good afternoon, everybody. Like Eric said, my name is Casey Dale, and I'm a forecaster here at the office. And we're going to talk a little bit about total water level forecasts. It's kind of new to us here at the office. We just started it about a few months ago. So we're just going to go over it really quickly this afternoon. So what is total water level? So the total water level is a combination of the storm surge, the astronomical tide, and the tide anomaly. So essentially, it's a combination of those three things is what makes up the total water level. So as you can see on this image, on the left-hand side is a picture of the old way. And some of you may be familiar with this when you've been looking at our AHAPS page over the years and looking at the tide gauges. On the left-hand side is an image of a forecast. As you can see, it was pure astronomical tide. This example is one from Duck that was taken during a previous event, I believe during Hurricane Matthew back in 2015. And as you can see how, I don't want to say terrible the forecast was, but essentially it was. If you look at it, it's well below what it should be. And the reason for that is because it's pure astronomical tide. It wasn't a real forecast, although it did always say at the bottom, as that pink kind of magenta color was the actual forecast. The old way of doing it, again, was just the pure astronomical tide. And the new way that we've started doing it over the last few months incorporates the surge now. So you can see on this right-hand image, it's actually a real forecast this time. So it's a combination of the storm surge and the astronomical tide and a tide anomaly, which the forecasters here take into account manually. So now it's a real true forecast, and this should be much more accurate. Our current total water forecast locations, we're doing 4 right now at the NWS tide gauges, 1 at Duck, at Oregon Inlet, at Cape Hatteras Coast Guard Station, and in Beaufort. So those are the 4 that we're forecasting for right now. Hopefully in the future, our plan is to expand this as we get more comfortable with it here, and as we get more comfortable with it here. We are going to expand these to 3 other locations, hopefully on the sound side as well. We're hoping to start forecasting for Ocracoke, Cedar Island, and Oriental, and we hope to have these sites active by the end of 2018. And where to find this data? If anyone's familiar with our AHAPS page, if you go to our home page, it's right under the rivers and lakes, and you can select under river observations, and you can link it here. And then if you look at if you're looking at this image right here on the right-hand side, you can see that this kind of magenta or purpley color is the actual forecast. The blue is the observed, and then like I said, on the right-hand side, it's the actual forecast out in time. And at the office, we are updating these forecasts at least 2 times a day, and this data will be incorporated into any coastal flood advisory or coastal flood warning product that we issue. And this is an example. of a coastal flood advisory that was issued back in November. And as you can see, there will be a table that will be attached to the bottom of every coastal flood advisory or warning. And this table includes forecasted water level at high tide in the expected flood impact category, as you can see on the right-hand side here. So we encourage all of you to utilize these forecasts, and if you have any questions, comments, or feedback on it this winter and any time in the future, please let us know. We really appreciate any feedback during an event or after an event. But that's all I have talking about the total water level forecast. Does anyone have any specific questions about it? It's like Eric said, you can ask some questions now, or we can wait till the end if you think of something later. But please feel free if you have any questions about it. Okay, well, I will turn it right back over to Eric, and he will. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Gary Neal, Campus Union, MCIE. On your monitors, your most southern one is at Buford. Are you going to expand those a little further down, i.e. Crystal Coast, New River Inlet?
That's a good question. Thank you. Right now, the most southern gauge is Beaufort, and it's really dependent on where the tide gauges are. So unfortunately, we don't have any real tide gauges that far south. If we did, we could expand the forecast. So maybe in the future, if we are able to get some additional gauges, maybe from the state or something else, we will be able to expand the forecast effort further south. But as of right now.
Will USGS give you any?
I don't know. I think the state, I don't think so, but I think the state is working on expanding the gauge network. I'm not sure of all the locations that they're working on right now, but I know they are working on expanding the gauge network. So that will be something that we will be able to explore in the future. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, thanks Casey for that presentation. A lot of new things going on here at the office, and again, as Casey mentioned, if you have more questions at the end, feel free to ask us, and also I'll provide both our email addresses, so you can certainly do that. Last thing I want to show you is actually a video that I made within the past week. I was going to show you live, but if you were watching the weather over the weekend, while we had a cold rain, they had snow as close by as Goldsboro and Raleigh, and significant snows from Atlanta up into parts of Virginia. So I saved some of these images off and did a quick little presentation on YouTube. So I encourage you to share that with other users or partners that you may be able to think of. That video is already online. I'm going to play that now. And this goes over a new product that we have called Snow Probability. If you've watched some of our sister offices in Raleigh or Wakefield the last year or so, they have done this already, and this is just expanding a little bit farther south. So this 6-minute presentation will go over how to get the snow probability graphics and what they mean, and how really they can help, especially our higher end users, determine what is the worst possible case scenario and the most likely. So here's the video, just about 6 minutes in length.
Hey everybody, this is Warning Coordination Meteorologist Eric Hayden. Work with the National Weather Service office in Newport, Morehead City. I know we usually don't see a lot of snow in our area. We tend to see more, especially inland areas toward Kinston and Greenville. But we have something very exciting this upcoming winter, something new we will be doing for the first time. That's snowfall probability graphics or maps. First place you need.
I'm going to pause that for a second. I was hoping that would be louder. Is everybody hearing that okay, or is that too soft?
We can't see the video.
You can't see the video?
No.
Huh. Let me see. You can't see the video at all?
I can see the video, but can you make it bigger?
Yes.
Can you do the full screen or not?
Yes. Can you see it now?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, you should be able to see a full screen right now. And can you guys hear it all right?
Not right this minute.
Okay.
Hey everybody, this is Warning Coordination Meteorologist Eric Hayden. Work with the National Weather Service office in Newport, Morehead City. I know we usually don't see a lot of snow in our area. We tend to see more, especially inland areas toward Kinston and Greenville. But we have something very exciting this upcoming winter, something new we will be doing for the first time. That's snowfall probability graphics or maps. First place you need to go is our website. That's at the top. It's weather.gov. and then put /MHX. Once you're to our website, scroll to the bottom of the page. You'll see a lot of icons, but I want you to click on the one that says winter weather with the snowflakes. And that will take you to our forecast page. A lot of new information on this page. One thing that is the same, that is our official snowfall forecast. You can have this as a point, or you can have this as a range. So this is our official forecast. This is what we actually think will happen in terms of the snowfall amount. Now the thing that is different is we're trying to show you a wide range of possibilities to show where we're confident and in some cases where we're not. So we have two additional graphics to help with that. The first one is the 1 in 10 chance graphic. And what that is, that's the reasonable worst case scenario. So this is an example from the 8th of December 2017. A lot of the snow was toward Raleigh and Richmond, and some big snows down toward Atlanta, Georgia. As far as we're concerned, we didn't see a lot in our area, and this graphic is showing that the worst case scenario, the 10% chance, would be just less than an inch up toward Greenville and also Williamston. The other graphic is expect at least this much. This is 90% chance of this happening. In this case, nothing. So it's most likely we probably won't see much out of this event. So those are a couple of the graphics I want to highlight. If you click on the forecast itself, you can scroll through it. You can see what our forecast is, the worst case, and expect at least this much pretty quickly. So that's one recommendation I'll give for you. I want to quickly show you the bottom of the page. Then I'm going to jump up to Wakefield, Virginia, because they actually have snow with this event, so this will stand out more. Another neat thing is looking at a threshold. Are we going to get an inch, 4 inches, just 1/10 of an inch? This is the percent chance that could happen. So in this case, the percent that we'll see 1/10 of an inch or more snow, about a 10 to 30% chance the northwest part of the area. Again, this is for December 8th, 2017. Chance of more than 4 inches of snow, 0 on this one. So a very, very neat tool that we're using here out of the office in Newport. And the last way you can do it, if you're a table person, maybe you just want to see the values themselves and you don't want to see a map. This is county-based, so it defaults to a bunch of cities in our area. And at the top, under county, you can select your county. So in this case, we'll select Carteret, and then we'll have some select cities on there for you. So Beaufort, Cedar Island, Newport, and then again on the far left are the cities, and on the right the chance that you'll see more snow than that. So you can do it as a range, or you can click on exceeded. So a lot of information to digest. This is experimental, so one thing I want to point out is at the top there's a part that you can leave feedback. Please do so. We have made tremendous improvements with these graphics. Some of our sister offices up toward Binghamton and parts of the northeast part of the country have done these for a couple years now, and they continue to improve. So give us feedback. We're certainly using that. And if you want more information on it, there is a product description on the middle part of the page. Now, I do want to turn your attention to showing you a couple of the graphics in real time. This is Wakefield, Virginia, the 8th of December 2017. They have a winter storm warning up there and winter weather advisory. So in this case, where we were not expecting snow in our area, Wakefield, the office up by Richmond, Virginia, they certainly were. So I want to jump through these and show you again in real time when we actually have snowfall amounts. We're going to click on the official forecast. We'll say a range, and we'll click on that. And so for this particular event, they were forecasting 4 to as much as 8 inches of snow across the southeast part of Virginia, and much lesser amounts down into North Carolina. As we go forward, this is the worst case scenario. Again, that 10% chance that they could have as much as 9 inches of snow just north of Richmond and on the Delmarva toward places like Cambridge and Salisbury. So again, official forecast, and I'm just using my cursors to go back and forth. The official, worst case. Official, worst case. Very, very nice graphics. We'll go forward one more. This is the expect at least this much, 90% chance that this is going to happen. We're going to see 2 inches of snow at least, Farmville, Hanover, Richmond. So pretty confident we'll see at least some snow in Richmond. It could be as much as this, and that's what we're forecasting. So hopefully seeing that in real time helps you out just a little bit. And again, at the bottom of the page, you can say, well, are we going to see at least an inch of snow? So here's this graphic here, at least a 90% chance in the Richmond area of at least an inch or more of snow. Again, this is a first week to 10 days of December. As I go forward, 2 inches,
4 inches, 6 inches. So as you kind of scroll through, you can see where the higher probabilities are, and that really emphasizes that the heaviest snow for this forecast as of Friday evening on the 8th was for Richmond northward to see the highest snow. So we'll wrap things up. I just wanted to show you a little bit more with a real case scenario. All right, so I thought that would be a better presentation than me showing you maps from today that would just show 0. So that was from this past weekend where they did see snow up in southeast Virginia. Again, this is our page today. Nothing's going on, but just to re-emphasize, if you scroll down on our page, the tab that says winter weather, the icon, that is where you can get the information. And the main point of this is to show our uncertainty, but also to give you that highlight of what the reasonable worst case scenario is. Here's our official forecast, the worst case and most likely case on the far right, and then those thresholds I showed you. So definitely give that a check. If we get any snow this winter, provide us with feedback. All over the page itself, there's areas that you can leave feedback, but I can take them as well. So that is pretty much it for our presentation today. I'll turn it over to you now if you have any questions. I've got our Science Operations Officer, David Glenn. He's also our acting meteorologist in charge. His email's on there. If you want more about the science or how we get those probabilities, feel free to email him. Casey did an excellent presentation on the total water level. If you have questions for her, her email is on the screen, and then my email is at the bottom. So be happy to take any questions at this time. Otherwise, that will be it for today, and really appreciate you joining us for kind of a new look at some of the products we'll be doing this year.
Eric, this is Eric Carlson at Camp Lejeune.
Yes.
In the past, one of our challenges has been the icing or freezing of roadways. DOT puts down, of course, the brine ahead of time. But to be able to get a feel for what roadbed temperatures might be, is there any talk that National Weather Service and DOT will hook up to be able to prognosticate some of that, so we have some idea of what we would be looking at between an evening and a morning forecast? As those temperatures drop and winds pick up, of course, the roadbed freezes a little quicker when it's less protected or not earth or toward bridges.
And you're talking specifically with roadway temperatures, not air?
Both, actually. What the air temperature will do to the roadway.
Okay. Not that I know of. A lot of times that's handled by our private sector with specific forecasts for road surface temperatures. We do not predict that. What I would encourage you to use, though, is, are you familiar with our hourly weather graph and forecast?
Yes.
I would encourage you to use that, because that's what we're putting a lot of emphasis in the updates every 3 hours and getting the next 30 to 36 hours correct.
Okay.
There's another forecaster with me, Belle Melendez, that has maybe some more information I'm not aware of. Go ahead, Belle.
Hello, I'm sorry for interrupting, but one site that you can check out is the State Climate Office. They do provide a kind of a website that provides temperatures of all different sorts. And there, if you select, you have the option to select for soil temperature. And there they have there you can see at selected stations, they do have soil temperature, and there you can see what the soil temperature is, and that could give you an idea of how conditions are on the road.
Thank you.
Because that's what we use to have an idea as well. We use their website to see soil temperature.
So you can shoot me an email, and Belle can give me that link, and we can shoot it out to you.
Will do.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Any other questions out there? All right, it's just about 3:30. We will hopefully have this in a recorded format. We'll put it up on YouTube, and we'll do a follow-up email, save these presentations off as a PDF, and email the list this evening. So you'll get those links, and Belle's working the shift with me tonight, so maybe we'll include the soil temperature one with that for everybody to have. So again, really appreciate you joining us, and we look forward to working with you this winter. Hopefully it's 70-degree weather all winter, though. Have a good day, everybody.
Thanks, Eric. You too.
Yep.
emergency manager. He's very proactive from Camp Collision.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, he's very proactive. And yeah, he does know who I am.
Nice job. Yeah, if you don't mind giving me that link,
Yeah, I have no
so if it's all right with you, Casey, I'll save them as PDFs now and just email our presentations, your link, and then hopefully it recorded and we'll put it on YouTube.
Well, Casey, thank you for doing the presentation.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, that's all. Sorry that I